Last time I worked with World of Tanks, we recreated our own version of the early Archimedes screw machines. It was a fascinating project, so we're at it again and we're going to look to recreate a 1950s concept called the Rhino. Let's go! What are we doing then first? Well, World of Tanks, of course. We made the screw tank. Absolutely fantastic project. They're back. They're sponsoring me again. So what are we up to? Well, of course, World of Tanks is a free-to-play game. It's available on mobile, consoles and PCs. But when we were having our little talk about how we can promote the game, one of their kind of little slogans was history meets action. Historical accuracy and inspiration mean authentic models and vehicle characteristics make you feel like you're a real tank commander. And then I thought, history. That's an interesting word. So I went back and I had a little look and a root around in things and historical things that have been made, and I came across this. Yes, this is a 1950s concept called the Rhino. Now, basically, this was invented by Anyway, he was a wealthy inventor and he was once sat in Central Park seeing a tractor getting stuck in the mud, and that is when he came up with the Rhino concept. The hemispherical, spherical wheels, basically the more they sank into the mud, the more traction they get because the wider they get. I like! Now, if you want to play World of Tanks, if you use my link in the description using the code FURZARMY, you will get 7 days premium access, 250,000 credits, and 3 extra tanks. Boom! It's worth about $25. It's all good. Get it in the link in the description. So then, should this hemispherical wheel system, should it be left in the 50s, or should we bring it back into the modern world? Now, if you look at the picture, they're on the wonk, which means a straight axle going down to something is going to be quite complicated. That would also make the steering complicated. So I'm thinking hydraulically driven and articulated. So, articulated, hydraulic and four-wheel drive. Such a machine already exists, and Tom's got one. Oh, I had a truck, but it all got when I took it up, Tom, that's fine. Okay, we've got a little 1-ton dumper. Now, it's a perfect starting point. All the hydraulics, all the steering system, it's all been done for us. Now, its off-road capabilities, they're okay. I've kind of, driven up hills and stuff. You always think it's going to tip over because you sit so high up on it. But we need to reduce its weight. We need to reduce everything down to its absolute bare minimum. So let's put it to bits. Okay, it's not a dumper anymore. Now, before we started, apparently it weighed 1,295 kilos, according to the book. I've lifted it up, picked it up, we're down to 860. So we've took a bit off, but it is still heavy. Now, there's still more stuff I can take off, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have a look at all the hydraulics, all the throttle and everything, see where I'm going to sit, and just plan the next stage. So after thinking about it, I decided that the hydraulic system which lifted and tipped the bucket was probably unnecessary. So I pulled out all the hydraulic lines, removed the rams and chopped off all the big thick metal brackets that held it all together. Weight saving is the name. Okay, starting to look pretty cool now. Now, took another 40 kilos off. Don't know if that's going to make a difference, but it all out. Now, seating position. Originally, I thought I'd be sat down in here, inside the chassis, like quite hunkered down quite a bit. It poses a little bit of problem with my feet. They're either going to stick out quite far, or they're going to be quite low. Don't like that. So, got myself a nice sporty race seat. Put that on the top, as far back as I can get it. Tilt it back slightly, and then basically my feet can sit nicely up here. Throttle, steering column can come up. And this is probably how it should be, because if you look at the picture of the Rhino, the big wheels, there's like a little hole which sits, makes like head for sticking out of. Wow, that's a strange looking helmet. So we'll get that mounted, and then we'll look at mounting the throttle and the steering column. Right, it's all connected up. Now, I've made the steering adjustable because when this has a body on it, I might be getting in from the top, and to have a steering wheel tucked right up might get in the way. So I've made it so you can push it forward, get in, pull it back, and then we'll have some little tiny clamps up here so we can fix it all into position. Now, the steering column itself is quite interesting. There's 5 pipes into this thing. There's the main one out of the pump, the one that goes back to the tank, the 2 that go out to the ram, and then there's the second one, which is the draw-off, which actually goes to the valve unit, which used to lift the tipper bucket up and down on. So there's quite a lot going on in there, but it does work without the engine being on. So it's like there must be some sort of pumping thing in it, as well as it being like a diverter valve. Throttle, that sticks out here. Now, I've just put it out in a bit of box section at the minute, because like I said, once I've built like a housing, I'll probably mount it properly. But the interesting thing is, you probably notice, there is no brake pedal, because there is no brakes. Well, there is brakes, but there's no brake pedal. There's a little switch down here, so when you put your foot on the throttle, it kind of unlocks the motors hydraulically and moves them forward. And then when you take your foot off the throttle pedal, it kind of relocks them up. So it has brakes, but there's no brake pedal. That's going to feel a bit weird, I reckon. Right, does it work? And is it more stable than what it was? Let's go for a drive. Well, it feels a lot better to drive already. I don't feel like I'm going to tip over. The usual colinfurze style, there is some major safety oversights. The kill switch and the ignition are all behind me. I can't reach them. And on the flip side, I've got no seat belts at the moment, so I can just get out if I need to. And it's not very fast. Despite the fact I can't switch it off if I have an accident, it's starting to feel a lot more nimble and less likely to tip over at the slightest sight of a hill. Go on, up you get! It's alright, it's starting to feel like an off-road machine. Then over to a steep bank to test the no brakes brakes. Oh, brakes definitely work on it. Oh yeah! But will it get back up? Nope. Now this is quite a steep hill, so the fact it wouldn't get up that's not too bad. There's a lot of play in the steering, very unresponsive. Right, let's check the articulation, because obviously the front and back can do slightly different things. Ah, we're fine, Colin. Come on! Come on! Well, you know, I'm mildly impressed. It's only a dumper at the minute. Come on! Yes! Oh no! Well, we definitely ain't going to get out of that if we go in there. That is just a pit of oblivion. I kind of want to go down it, see if I can... No, it's definitely going to get stuck in there. Right, back we go. Nothing seems to be turning. We have an issue. You know that switch that tells you when you're accelerating and it releases the brakes? Yeah, I've pulled all the wires out of it. But other than that, I think it's done very well.
Oh, I had a truck, but it all got when I took it up Tom Lamb's farm. It soon got busted and covered in dust when I took it up Tom Lamb's farm.
Nerve-wracking, isn't it? I didn't think this. Right, I was hoping it would go back to the barn under its own steam, but it doesn't matter. The positives. 4-wheel drive system works really well. The articulation seems to be quite good. It's a lot more stable than what it is now. So, whoa, shit, no, I'm under a tree. We got just back to the shed. Right, it's back working again. I've fixed it. Now, before we make our big bulbous wheels, if you look at the picture, they're on a bit of a wonk. Now, I've measured it up. We're looking at about a 15-degree tilt. So we've got to tilt the front wheels and the back wheels in 15 degrees. So with the wheel removed and a little bit of concrete chipped off, my first problem was discovered. Can't pull this motor forward because the hydraulic lines are fouling on the chassis. That's gotta go. Now then, when I rang Thwaites up, the people that make this dumper, about getting some parts for the steering, take all the slack out, told them what I was doing, they got very excited, but they've been very helpful because they've given me all the engineer's drawings for these plates. So I put it in the computer, I've cut this out as a template to see if it all matches up. We can bolt one of them on there and then basically bolt another one like this to the back of the motor, and then we can put a little wedge in between which sets it off at 15 degrees, and that will give us our angle. So we need 4 of them, Colin.
One of the features on the new plasma cutter is the ability to hole punch the metal so you can start your pilot drill so you can drill all the holes in exactly the right place. This is awesome.
Okay, small problem. I can't quite pull the motors out and shove them on. I thought we had a little bit of slack in the pipes, but no, it ain't gonna do it. So, we've got this plate. I'm gonna weld this up underneath the bottom, put bulkhead connectors, connect the hoses at the moment into the top of them, and then from underneath there, we can either take more flexible hoses, or at some point we can change them for solid pipe, so they can come under here, they can get burnt and crustified, and it will not matter. There we go.
Nice bit of forward thinking there, Colin, leaving holes for the spanner. That's a bit weird though.
Looks a bit weird, doesn't it? I was thinking this is like a car modifier's worst nightmare. Like, people spend a lot of time getting like negative camber and stuff and things like that, but extreme positive camber, I can't think this would be good for anything in any other situation. Anyway, it drives all right and it moves all right, doesn't really feel that much different. So I thought, right, that's the front done, move on to the back. Little bit trickier. Okay, the official word for this, I think, is a mess. Now, the back is slightly different. The plates which I cut up extra for the front are not going to work because it fits the chassis differently. There is a few more hydraulic pipes. I think the hydraulic brakes are actually on the back axle. And to top it off and make it all worse, the whole thing is full of mud. But it doesn't matter as a viewer. You just keep watching and in about 20 seconds, it'll all be done.
So in my 20 seconds, I swept the floor, used a broom, which was far too big for the job. Did some grinding. Mounted the new plates, bolty, 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 wrestled the heavy motor, put another shielding plate up, cut some hydraulic hoses, stick the wheel back on, bosh.
So you know they say that the car you drive is like a reflection of yourself? What sort of person would drive that? Okay, we've got 4 wheels at 15 degrees. Now, originally, I was going to build this whole thing from scratch, but after talking to the hydraulics people, where I get all my motors and stuff from, they said to run 4 motors and a steering system off an engine and pump is very complicated and quite difficult to get right. And I understand that now. There is bypasses, there is valves, there is all sorts of things on that would have been a complete nightmare. Even just tilting the wheels and moving all the systems around has been very complicated. It's took me ages to do that. But it is ready now for us to make our Rhino wheels, our big circular bulbous things. Are they going to give us a lot more grip? Is it a concept that should be brought back from the 50s and used in modern day? And of course, don't forget the sponsor World of Tanks. They're making all this possible. Use your code FURZARMY at the link in the description. And of course, you'll get your 7 days premium access, 250,000 credits, a Tiger 131, a T78 and a Type 64. This whole bundle is worth $25 and is free to you at the link in the description. Right, subscribe, it's a pleasure. I do all this for you, there's a lot of work. I'll see you in the next video. What are we going to call it? Frino? Furzino? Ferrino? I was just kneeling on the floor, let me see, to get it all in shot.